door mint marks at a price that you can find hard to believe, and much less than many dealers charge if they can build the sets at all.
Now you can purchase 20 certified brilliant uncirculated Morgan silver dollars from Finest Known and receive this 21st coin for only $1. Call today and receive this Morgan dollar book for free.
Take advantage of this introductory offer and give us a call today at Finest Known. Once you hold one of these beautiful uncirculated sets of Morgan dollars in your hands, history just comes alive. Call Finest Known today and reserve your historic set.
Call Finest Known now at 1-800-998-9042. That's 1-800-998-9042 or on the web at finestknown.com.
Presidential hopeful Tom Steyer says he'd significantly raise the minimum wage if elected. While campaigning in South Carolina, Steyer says he'd raise the minimum wage to $22 an hour. Other Democrats in the race have proposed a minimum wage of at least $15 an hour. A former first couple have something new for their trophy case. Here's USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes with the details.
The film American Factory was produced by former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle, and it was streamed on Netflix. It won the Academy Award for Best Documentary on Sunday night. It tells the story of an abandoned General Motors plant in Ohio that was reopened by a Chinese billionaire. But the film shows how optimism when the huge plant reopened turned to disillusionment and anger as the Chinese management imposed strict, exhausting demands on workers and fired those who didn't comply. For USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
And you're listening to USA Radio News.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-215-5141. 800-215-5141. That's 800-215-5141.
Gas prices are continuing their downward trend. With the details, here's USA Radio Network's Wendy King.
The price of gas has dropped the past 2 weeks, with regular now down to $2.53 a gallon nationally. Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg says the coronavirus is impacting oil prices.
OPEC is quite concerned that falling oil prices greatly risk their livelihood, and the ministerial guiding committee influencing their plans wants to see a production cut of another 600,000 barrels per day, but the key collaborator, Russia, has not agreed to such a deep cut.
The most expensive gas in the country is in San Francisco.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won the pole Sunday for the season-opening Daytona 500 next weekend, putting his new team, JTG Doherty Racing, in the NASCAR spotlight for the week. Stenhouse joins Fox News and talks about the pressure of having the pole for the Daytona 500.
You definitely feel a little bit more pressure, but you also feel a little bit more confident as well because you know that you have the fastest car down at the Daytona 500 coming up next Sunday. So we're ready to go. I'm anxious, and now we got to sit until Thursday. We race our duels on Thursday night.
For more news, you can find us online at usaradio.com or check us out on Facebook as well at USA Radio. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an American Matters Media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
Stories we've told, oh, it's their own stories we've told, stepping at a time. Stories we've told, oh, it's their own stories we've told, till the end of time. Oh, steps don't rise.
Welcome to What's the Story? My name is Janice Urmson, and I'm your host, and we're here with the whole crew today. Ed Noel is back.
Howdy, everyone. Sorry I missed last week.
A new homeowner. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
Yes. April Kempler.
Hi, John.
Did you have a nice weekend?
I did.
Good.
A busy one.
Yeah, I like your scarf.
Oh, you do? Thank
it's
you.
not a scarf. It's a, what are they called?
I don't know. I think it's an infinity scarf or something.
That's right.
Or some sort of weird
scarf, I think. Yeah.
It's called a thing you wrap around your neck.
It looks like a fox wrap.
Oh, that's olive green.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Faux fox wrap.
That's right, please.
It's actually very soft.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Makes you want to go over there and go, let me feel that.
It's very comforting.
That could be dangerous if you're a man.
So far, no one's done it.
That's good.
Probably because I look scary.
And then we have Doug Ashby, who always comes in just smiling away.
Oh, that's because I love it here.
Oh, happy place.
You know what's so nice is to see, but before the show, all of us, one by one, we start arriving and we sit down and everybody's looking at their notes. And then all of a sudden it just comes together.
Yeah,
and
here we are.
That is so cool to watch that happen.
I saw you doing it in the truck. I pulled in and yelled at you, and you looked around, and you were focused. You were singularly focused.
Yes. He is when he's in his truck, because I've driven up
Yep.
and he kind of ignores me until
Yep,
he
that's
comes
what he was
in.
doing. He was like getting his mind right. It was
That's
awesome.
right. Yeah, that's the
Well,
way
you
it
know
is.
what?
Doug?
No, I was ordering parts on my phone, and I go, "Phew," sent it, and then I looked at it and I go, well, that's nice, but it's the wrong address.
Oh.
So now I don't know how to. I don't know how to change
Fix
that,
that.
but I'll figure it out.
Oh, you can go in and
Yeah, I
adjust the
hope
order.
so.
Was it an Amazon thing?
Kinda.
Kinda,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a place
Did
I
you-
order stuff, and there's an alternate address that
Oh.
nobody's there, so I don't know what.
Well,
I
you
don't-
can usually go in before it ships and let them know so that
Yeah.
you can, so you can change it to the correct
Or you can just
address.
hang out at that strange address until somebody delivers
see
it.
what
man,
happens.
Right?
See what turns
You
up.
just show up.
That's
Where is it? Some
right.
random address. Some like somebody you
It's
know.
probably in California,
Yeah.
is my guess.
Well, it is, but just
Yes,
wait,
I thought.
wait in the bushes. When he drops it off, run up, grab it, and then hightail it.
And hope they don't have a ring like doorbell, and you'll be arrested, tackled. You'll be on cops on KME.
Yeah.
Wow, Ed, you've got a whole
he's
scenario.
got a whole
Yeah, boy,
thing
that-
going on.
That had legs, didn't it?
It really did. I'm not finding my notes. I'm hoping that I can remember everything I had on my little. I had a little note thing that I thought of some things that I wanted to remember to share. I was telling these guys before the show that we were down this on Friday. Printers, their phones, everything was all intermittent, and so it would work and then it wouldn't work, and you'd get something printed that was from like 2 days ago. so it was really a struggle. Went through the diagnosis process, which everybody understands, and then finally said I have to give up. I got to call my IT guy, and but I had to diagnose before you can do that, because you got to kind of know what the problem is before they can come out and solve it all. So, or you want to spend $1 million, you can do that. So anyway, called my guy. He came out on Saturday, and fortunately, nothing more than a switch, which was a little pricey, but other than that, at least we're up and running. Everything's solid. Printers all work. I mean, it's very exciting, right? So what I want to do is I want to thank all the people that helped me get there, which is Soundline, which is they're a company out of Washington, and they were awesome in helping to diagnose and get me on the right track, because I said, I think it's a router, and he's like, no, I don't think it's that, I think it's this. So they helped us over the phone. DBANevada.com, who came out and got my switch running for me. And then Technology Center right here in Reno. Actually, he's in Sparks. He advertises with us, and he also supplies whatever you need. So he was on hand, ready to
Curtis Kicktail.
Yes, ready
Nice.
to provide whatever we needed.
You had a whole team.
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
multiple
And
teams.
Yes, and so I just wanted to make sure I thanked everybody, because that's really what it takes, especially when you're small like us and you don't have a big crew, and we don't have on-staff IT people, which I'd love to have, but you got to send me more printing.
Killer coaching example. Surround yourself with
Yes.
those smarter than you in their space. You're
Well,
a rock star.
Yeah, and I think any small business knows that they have to have the people that they can go to, that they can trust. And I have to say, Soundline, we have been using them for our phone system. We have IP phones. We serve a lot of clients that are outside the area. We have their phones forwarded to us, or we have a line that we answer for them. We do that for you.
Yeah.
You forward your calls
Yeah.
to us when you go on vacation. And without them being there, I mean, they have just been invaluable in providing the kind of service that you need. Like I say, when we're out, and helping us understand how to set it up originally. We have phones off site, so if our phones go down, we can go elsewhere and go answer the phone, so you're never down, right? So for our small business, we can actually say, no, we're never down, unless all of Reno's down. we're never down.
Right.
Because we can go and plug in a phone to an internet someplace and we can serve you. So
Isn't it
that's
great
awesome.
to be able to say that?
It is. It is
that
because
was-
as a
yeah,
small
yeah,
company, that's
absolutely.
hard to do.
Yep.
That's hard to do. You know, I mean, most of the time, only big companies can do
It's
that kind of
way
stuff.
hard to do. Look how the listening audience, how easy Jan made that sound, but it's extremely difficult.
Well,
and
yeah.
it's part of her system,
Yeah.
right? It's part of what she's doing.
It is, and it took us a long time to get here. You know, we're putting out the What's the Story, and our front cover is all about 20 and 2020 that we've been publishing for 20 years. And that's all part of what we've learned to do over that time, is how to get us to a position of being able to serve anyone, anywhere, anytime. And, you know, and we keep trying to improve. We keep doing a little bit more here and there. So anyhow, we're excited about it. As you can tell, I took the whole first segment with that. But I wanted to thank all those people. dbanevada.com. Call him for your IT needs. He's awesome. His name is Edgar, by the way. So
Very good.
that's all I got, guys. I mean,
Hey.
you know, we've only got about 20 seconds left, so I'm going to take us out of here, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about caucuses and primaries.
Yep.
That Iowa debacle that happened. But we're not going to prey on that. We're going to use that as a point of reference. All right, we'll be right back. This is What's the Story?
Yeah, it
Yay.
seems like they needed to buy a clue.
So there's,
Right.
there's like two trains of thought on that. Like they did it on purpose as one.
I know.
And then the other is that there's so much ineptitude anymore in life, and nobody's apps work and nothing works anymore, and no one's paying attention in life. So there's that. I read an article about that, and that in fact it said that that even the Yale chaplain's office has for their students a program called Breathing Space, where they can go and detach from technology. And what they have is coloring and cookies is one event program. Coloring and cookies. These are university
How would
students.
you feel about that as a university
And
student? I just think I'd be insulted.
I don't know.
So
and
aren't
the other is a bouncy castle. And it's real. I looked it
I know. I'm just, maybe I'm too old, but
Something's
at that
wrong.
age,
No, so
Something
here's
is
the whole
wrong.
thing.
I
The
would
other
not
is how
have
many
wa-
students go to church, go see this individual on it, right?
Well, it's a chaplain's. They
I
also have
know,
other programs
But
there.
I'm just saying, the chaplain at a school is a figurehead.
It's not just church stuff. They have for all.
No, there's a I went to college at a Christian school, right? They're all over you. But people don't use the services.
They
So
use
do you
the
think that
bouncy castle.
They use the bouncy castle?
So obviously, no one's even looked at the app besides you.
Well, and I'll tell you,
That's where I'm going.
girlfriend, my friend was saying, well, this is just because these younger people don't know how to self-soothe. They don't know how to cope.
And I keep hearing that, but I would love to talk to a student
Yeah.
and find out if they really want that.
Yeah.
Do you want that, or is that just something that they're doing to make it look like they're
Yep.
Is it a pacifier?
Yeah, but
basically,
it
right?
totally is.
A visual pacifier,
It's
not even
it's
a real.
corporate trying
Right.
to pacify students.
I think there's a fallacy in your argument. I want to talk to them and see if they really need that. I don't think they're smart enough to know what they do need.
I don't think that's nice.
no, these are Yale students. This is a prestigious university.
And you think any of them do what the teachers and stuff say? They have strong parents. Many of them are powerful families, and they are executing a plan. They're not there for
They
sports and
they don't know what their
recreation.
weakness is.
Right? They're not
Yeah.
there for sports and
I'm
recreation.
going to rent Party World and get a bouncy castle in my backyard because I think that could work for me. And this is kind of along the theme of fear and anxiety because
I know that's where you're going, but I question somebody that age even desiring that.
it'll grow up.
solution.
They're not growing up. I don't know. Christian's
But
the
are they
youngest one
not,
here. What does he
or
say?
are they not, or are they? Is this just a?
I meet so many people like in their 30s.
I don't
and they're
know. I
children.
I find it hard to believe that. I'm going to ask my granddaughter. She just went to college. I'm going to ask her. Would you use a bouncy?
Well, please
thing?
do.
I will. I will ask her
So
that.
it's the
Caitlin,
same as
I'm gonna call
always,
you.
April. Some people never grow up, and others grow up at 10.
Yeah, if they want anything
It's
like
true.
that, just go over to the fraternity house.
Yep. Well, no, they're all closed now. Here we go.
Welcome back. Well, if you were on Facebook, you probably heard our little off-air thing about bouncy castles and all sorts of things that universities are doing, and I'm really questioning whether whether the students really want it. So if you're a student out there, do you use a bouncy castle? Do you go to the safe space? Do you really want that? Do you color? Do you really want that? Or is it just another thing? And, it's here, so I'm just going to go. Whatever.
If it was,
I mean, we used to go and smoke, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they go.
What do you mean used to?
If it was,
I'm pretty sure there's other things they can do.
Well, that was my pacifier. That was what soothed me, right? Is you.
So I didn't smoke when I was in college.
Really?
Oh, well.
I was going to say, if that was 3 or 4 units of upper division credit, sign me up. Bouncy house? Oh my goodness.
I'm in.
That would be an easy one.
So staying on, I stayed at multiple colleges and went to school there. And what services do you use, right? You use the facilities like, racquetball and, that kind of stuff and unions where you can eat and visit, play pool, that kind of stuff. And that's it. Yeah. Right? I mean, use that stuff. You're fast, right?
Right.
Life's fast.
Right. All right, well, let's get to our topic, because we only have this one segment.
Oh, we got a topic?
We have a topic. Caucuses versus primaries. So do you guys have a clue about a caucus versus a primary? What's the difference? Why would you do one rather than the other? Any ideas?
Take it one step further. Who decides what you're going to have? Is it...
Well, let's address first what they are.
This is my thought on the whole thing. I'm checking in on this one. I only know from Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll, the caucus race, and all the animals running pell-mell. This is a caucus race. So to me, it's confusing. So you can clarify.
So a primary is a state. This is from Dummies. I love Dummies, right? So this is from Dummies. A primary is a state-level election where party members vote to choose a candidate affiliated with their political party. Party candidates selected in a primary then run against each other in a general election. 34 U.S. states conduct primary elections. And then not only are there primaries, there are closed primaries, semi-closed primaries, open primaries. So I'm not going to go into all the different levels, but there's reasons for all of them, even a semi-open primary. So it's important to know what the difference is, though, because I'm going to talk about this one, semi-open primary, any registered voter may participate in any party primary when they identify themselves to election officials. They must request a party-specific ballot. So, anybody can participate in a semi-open. A closed, obviously, is just, your party. And you can only if you belong to that party. Caucuses are local meetings where registered members of a political party in a city, town, or county gather to vote for their preferred candidate, right? But they are, those are defined by the political parties. It's not a state-run. So there were people contacting the state about especially in Nevada, about the caucuses that are going to be happening, and they said, we don't run those. You have to talk to the political parties. So that's a big difference, I think. I don't know about you guys, but I think it is. And in Iowa, obviously, the party decided to do what they were going to do. They changed the way. Did you guys read at all about how the levels that they were going to do and how they had a first? Now I'm not going to remember what they called them.
Well, they outthought themselves.
I think so.
Right. I mean, to me, right, if you're a Democrat, you're right. The last thing you needed was a fundamental flaw.
Right. Well, and then they changed, I guess, the way that they were going to do this. So in a caucus, and my mom actually, God bless her, she was in her 90s when they decided to caucus here, and she actually went and did this, and I know she was so annoyed when she left, but she was a Democrat. And she went in, and you group together, right? And you pick which.
Don't you discuss the candidates?
Right, but then they each. Well, hang on. Let me find the thing because obviously, I'm not explaining this very well, and I'm not going to be able to.
The cool thing, I think, for the caucus when it's done is you have more. It's more than your vote, right? There's energy of a group of people behind you.
Right, there is.
Right, you
Yes.
have that when it's done. I was going to say during the decision making, it's worse. Right? I mean, it's messy.
Right. So one of the main differences between a caucus and a primary is a caucus is organized by political parties, whereas a primary is organized by the State Board of Elections. And then they had I'm not finding the one that I want. Did you want to say something?
No.
I don't want to discuss this.
No, my eyes glazed over a few minutes ago with this.
It
why?
gets a little deep.
Is it too deep?
Yeah.
Too deep?
I don't know.
No, so it's
Okay,
election. It's our
explain it.
civic responsibility to get in and learn, right? It's not rocket science.
Yeah, people need to learn.
But then when you hear about Iowa, doesn't it make you wonder why did that happen and how did that come about? That it is complicated. I'm not going to go into all the complicated details because to me, I was like you, my eyes were glazing over with the thought that I have to go in and then these guys are standing over here for Bernie and these guys are over here for Elizabeth and these guys are over here for Biden and then there's Buttigieg.
So it's like a race.
I love that
It's
name.
a race within the Democratic part, or it's a race within the party.
Well,
Whatever
Yeah,
the party
in
is.
this time, yeah, because Trump isn't being challenged. Even if they have the caucus, I mean, he's pretty much it.
But
right?
all primaries are that.
With all the
They are, but there isn't that viewable differences. So you're in there and you're over there with Biden and I'm over here with Buttigieg, right? And you're saying, well, hey, I want you to come over here. So it's a little more personal, right? It's very personal. You're facing your neighbors and you're knowing who they vote for. When you go in to cast your ballot, you don't. That's a big difference, I think.
Yep.
With all the confusion.
That's not too deep.
No.
With
Let
all
me hear
the-
it 3 more times.
With all the confusion, doesn't that open up the door for corruption?
Well, that's, I think, part of the question. So when you think about the fact that at the last minute, Iowa decided, the Democrats decided to change the way that they were going to do this in Iowa. So now you've got, I'm not even going to honor that. And now you've got all these people that have to figure out the new rules at the same time that you got all this conflict going on anyway within your own party. I just think that
that's the deal. When it's a political party, it's corrupt, right?
I knew that's where
big
you were
is
going.
corrupt,
Yeah.
right? So it's not surprising; it's expected,
Okay, so it's corrupt. But it's a different level of corruption.
right?
Right?
It is.
I mean, if you're going to say it's always corrupt no matter what, then now this is a different level.
It's always biased.
And to me, this was almost designed to confuse. That's kind of how I felt when I read about it. And I wasn't there, so I have no idea. But now we have this happening. So New Hampshire is a primary, so they're going to go ahead and vote, and we're going to get results from that. Hopefully. I would expect it would be a higher expectation that you'll have results, right? But now in Nevada, which is at the end of this month, February, I guess they have early, like I think the 15th or somewhere in there. They have early caucusing, which kind of confuses me as well. And I did try to contact the Democrat Party, actually, and I have not heard back. So I had some questions I wanted to ask so that we could have some direct answers as what they were going to do in Nevada. And I guess Harry Reid's real involved in trying to calm everybody down. And trying to
no
calm
doubt
people
about
down.
it, man. Don't even go there, right, man? It's just inevitable.
Yeah,
it's unavoidable.
The door wasn't open a crack; it swung wide open.
Yep.
So anyhow, and Nevada has become an important part of the voting and the process. Well, it has from the standpoint of the big picture. You got to look
So
at what
Nevada got so full of itself that it moved its election time up to this space.
Purposely.
Purposefully.
Yeah.
Now, to me, the state has to speak up and people got to participate. But it seems
Right.
to me like they're scrambling for caucus goers, right? You don't put yourself in the middle of a decision-making place, right? They help themselves be more important, but people got to play.
Yeah,
You know, I got something in the mail requesting me to be part of the caucus.
Oh, you better do it. You're a voice of wisdom.
Well,
they could use you.
Well, I'm going to have to go dig through the trash to get the letter.
Oh my!
I'm sure they'll let you in.
So if you are in New Hampshire, I hope that you will go and vote in that primary, and if you're a part of that party. And if you're in Nevada, I hope you'll participate in the caucuses, and we'd love to hear from you and hear what you have to say about it and how it went, what you thought of it, right? I mean, it'd be interesting to hear. I would be anyway. I don't know about anybody else. I don't see anybody shaking their head here.
Well, I think people swaying their opinions, trying to win you over. I think it's a really challenging, right? Really killer practice for what stuff we talk about.
Yeah, well, it's very personal, that's for sure, right? I mean, you know, that's the thing that would be hard for me is how personal that is.
So,
and I want to know who I vote for, but I don't want anyone else to know
well,
necessarily.
I was
going to
ask that very question, though. Why does anyone give a hoot? I understand why secret ballots are necessary, right? They have an important, but for me, how I vote, I don't care what people know.
Right.
Right. I mean,
I
don't know.
private.
Well, to
I
me,
like
do
being
you
private.
Well, I get that, but do you choose somebody who's why wouldn't you want to know?
On that note, why wouldn't you want to know? Why don't you tell us? We're going to be right back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson, here with the whole crew.
That was good.
It's just a different agenda, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if people like, right, like I voted for Trump last time, right? I was reluctant to say so early, but I did.
Voted for who?
Trump. Trump. I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump.
Uh-oh.
So, but
Ed's getting all the hate mail.
Yeah.
But you know, to me, it's part of who you are, right? Unless you're not being who you are, which is another thing. But I've never gotten that whole, I don't get the whole secrecy part about anybody's personal life. I don't. I really don't.
You don't get any of it?
Not well. If
You
I
really
mean,
don't?
So if you have some
Seriously?
medical issues that are personal, get that, right? But family relationships, who you are, who your kids are, where you work, to me, that's all stuff you should be proud of. To me,
Well,
when you're
it's about
proud,
not being proud. I don't think that's where it comes from. It's not about not being
but there
proud.
used to be a time where people were worried about Big Brother, all that stuff. That's all over.
That's all gone
Well,
now.
to me, it's all over. To these people, it's not. That's, to me, that you got a phone, they know where you are.
Yeah, that's true.
I know where you live.
They totally do, right? I mean, there's no secrets. I don't know what people are pretending about.
Yeah. You know, it was interesting. Debbie and I were talking about that this morning, or this afternoon at lunch. And her premise is, I think quite similar to Ed's, is that we as conservatives need to step up to the line and say, yes, this is the way I feel.
We can't shrink behind the Trump grief.
No more,
Behind
no
the
more.
what?
Trump grief.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, if you're a Trump guy, you hate life, right? Hate people, hate all
okay, I
the,
got
right,
you.
that whole things. You hate minorities, you hate
Yeah,
life
you're
itself.
a racist.
You're
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
right.
You're a
I
big
didn't
city
know that.
guy.
Yeah,
Right.
You're against gay people.
But,
yeah.
so that's the whole deal with Trump is ridicule. But having said that, this state 4 years ago caucused for and voted for Hillary Clinton, how embarrassing is that?
Not if you're a Hillary Clinton supporter, though. They don't feel that way.
So she showed what she had, and I think that was embarrassing. 2020, right? Looking back.
Taking that 2020 view, huh?
Well, I don't think, to me, she was blatantly in it for herself. I think the whole turn of trade with Trump is ridiculously funny because I think if you know him, he values the country above anything and his heritage and his history with the country. A win for him is a win for the country.
Well, yeah.
Hillary just wanted to be president and was just going to sit there and take bows, I thought.
One of the things that I've really...
Stand by. You don't get it.
You don't get it.
I know. I'm sorry, man.
Stifled.
To be fair, we've got the Blitz music.
We do
coming
have
up,
the
so.
Blitz music, yes. So
Yeah.
if you want to say something, you could. No,
That's
we've
okay.
stifled him.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'm just like an Irish setter. I forgot what I was going to say.
I kind of thought that might be what happened.
Does an Irish setter ever like sit still long enough to know what the first thought whatever was?
What are you saying? Irish setters aren't smart.
They're really high strung.
Yeah. That's
redheads.
that's mine at home. I have an Irish setter. So
And redhead times 5.
Yeah.
the one thing I was going to say about Trump is I like America first.
Yeah.
Be proud of
10
this
seconds.
country. I love that.
Ditto.
5, 4, 3.
We're working
2.
on the mail.
Welcome back. It is time for the booklets. Oh my goodness. You have a Trump book too?
Yep, I do.
Oh my goodness.
It's called The Tree of Yoga.
Oh.
You have
wow.
a loaded topic today.
I guess so, huh? And I was trying to be very neutral, right?
So are we.
Caucuses
We're just
versus-
calm,
versus
level-headed,
primaries.
thinking individuals.
We're going to have coping with fear and anxiety later, which
we need
there are
it.
probably some folks out there feeling some fear and anxiety right now.
I know I am.
So,
Really? That baffles me.
well, we will get into that topic very soon.
Yes, ma'am.
What have you got for
Oh,
us
okay.
today?
My
This
book-
is our Bookhound segment,
Yes,
and we want to
and-
let Miss
and
Bookhound
my-
over there.
My book hound is literally about hounds. It's called Sniffer Dogs: How Dogs and Their Noses Save the World by Nancy Castaldo. Came out in 2017, and it's anyone who has ever spent time with a dog knows that dogs love sniffing. They sniff out hidden food, dirty socks, and the visitor who comes to the door. But some dogs work with police officers, soldiers, and even scientists to put their sniffers to work. Sniffer dogs make use of the amazing biology behind their noses to protect people from bombs, catch criminals, smuggling drugs, or help researchers locate a hard-to-find snail in a forest. Didn't know about the snail. So, in this book, you will meet many dogs, sniffer dogs, and their handlers, and learn all about their jobs. So, and some of these dogs are raised from birth to detect blood sugar levels in their owners.
Yes, those are very expensive dogs, but they're very helpful to
Others,
diabetics.
yep, are rescued from animal shelters, and their boisterous personalities help make them excellent sniffer dogs. So I think this is a cool subject. I love dogs, and I had.
Do you have a dog?
I used to have dogs.
I didn't think you had a dog.
I don't currently. I would like to get a dog though. I'm thinking about that, but yeah,
Will you take the dog with you on your trips, or will you have to?
I would like to, but I had two.
Does Paul like dogs?
Yeah. Well, we had two big dogs, and it was just impossible to take them anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's hard.
So I don't know. But my friend is going to get a corgi. So I get to play with that.
And decide.
And decide. But this is Sniffer Dogs by Nancy Castaldo.
Well, you can check out my mini pin too. See how you like him.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've always had dogs my whole life, and so I love them. I'm sadly allergic to cats, so I couldn't have. I'd love a cat, though. I really would, but we're both.
They're too independent for me.
That's probably why I'd like one. Yeah, I had a health issue, and I didn't even know I had a health issue, but it was weird. Dogs were on their walks, were coming, like, beating a path to me and looking at me.
Oh,
and
how interesting.
I kept thinking, lately these dogs are coming at me. I don't know what's going on, and even my husband noticed this. And then I found out I had a little health issue that I've since taken care of, but I was like, that explains it. I think these dogs can tell that something's wrong with you.
How about that?
Yeah.
They were trying to help you get fixed.
They really were. They were like, Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm not sure you're okay. But you're not
Did you
listening
hear
to
them?
me. No. I didn't know what the heck. I'm like, I'm not reading
She
your
talks
language.
to the animals.
We're getting worried.
I had a couple of dogs in a class I was teaching, and did they ask you your biggest challenge? Right?
Yeah.
All right.
It must be your turn, Ed. I think you missed last week, and you just need to get in there and tell us all about your book.
So exciting, yeah. I
Books are
chose
exciting.
The Tree of Yoga, and I think that we need to keep adding business systems, right? We also need to start adding personal systems, right? We can add on both sides of our lives and enhance our lives. Time's running out. This Tree of Yoga was written by this gentleman who was born in 1918, and he's now passed. But BKS Liengar talks about yoga and the poses and the stretches, right? We can do this instead of eat chips on the couch, right? It's just the little needle movers, right? It's just doing the little things that give us peace of mind and extra energy to
I remember one of the
play
times,
harder and work harder.
Yeah, one of the times I tried to quit smoking, I tried doing yoga as
Yeah,
as
it's
an
not
option.
complimentary.
No, it didn't work
It's
for
not.
me.
It's
That
too
wasn't.
calm.
Yeah, it was too calm. I had
It
to
is.
get there first before I could use that
Yep.
technique.
Totally.
So, but I tried. And it was
Totally.
interesting. It was interesting to do, and I kind of liked it. Not in the same fashion, I think, that maybe they intended, but I enjoyed it.
But it's stretching and
Yeah,
doing things that, right, it's like skiing. If you ski, you use muscles that you don't use any
Right.
other time. Same
Right.
with yoga, right? We live our lives and there's muscles we don't stretch, and yoga finds them.
It's very true. Oh, fire away, my friend.
I came prepared today.
Uh-oh,
I really
we're in
did.
trouble now.
Well, I knew what April was going to talk about. So one of the books I found was 5-Minute Stress Relief, 75 exercise to quiet your mind and calm your body. I thought that
Excellent.
that would be great.
That is great.
But then I was equipped to go either way, and I think this is the better one because of the last segment. And this one is very apropos. It's called the Peter Principle. Why things always go wrong. And this was by Lawrence J. Peters, and his premise is a person will always rise to their lowest level of incompetence. And I thought, what's more perfect than a politician? They are the
Confidence, that's
epitome of the
something
Peter
we've been
Principle.
talking about too.
He is so accurate. Right? I mean, you have a clue or you're this guy's people. Right?
Everybody has worked for a boss that's that way. But there's another paragraph past that, but I thought, that explains it well enough. There's a bunch of incompetent people in Congress that the reason that there is for the perks. And you listen to them, you watch them. It doesn't have anything to do with helping the public. It's that they like the position. They probably in the private sector couldn't obtain that, so they go into politics.
The worst part is if they don't go in millionaires, they shouldn't be coming out millionaires.
I agree.
And that's one of my big challenges. All of them are, and all of them are out of touch. They need to kick their health system and use Social Security.
Yeah.
That cake eater, right? What are we, a kingdom?
Yeah.
I mean, right? Why is there another health system that we don't have, right? Or why don't they use the other one?
The $1 million question is, so how do we get that changed when they're the ones making the laws?
It's
So
a president. You got to get like Trump the last time, right? Get rid of that, right? You got to catch it.
This goes back to
because we're letting that happen.
Yep.
We're electing them.
We let it happen.
To April's premise, we're chasing our tails.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, it's ridiculous though,
Yeah.
the amount of money
Yeah.
they spend on that stuff that doesn't serve the people.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
I just read something that Trump has reduced from the personal White House staff out of the budget $25 million a year because of from the Obama administration, because of the people that are active and serve people. But with that being said, it's on the internet, and I don't know if I trust it or not.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
So to me, you got to let all that. That's just noise, right? So they had 27 people, and he's got 15.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
exactly.
it's whatever you're accustomed to. To me, it's about policy and moving the country forward on whatever issues.
Yeah.
And best I can tell, in my life, the previous administration to Trump, right? I lost my house, filed bankruptcy, and my wife left me. Right? This presidency, I just bought a house. I came back that's just I mean, for me, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's simple.
Yeah.
And
you have a book,
usually it does come down to how it affects us personally.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how we judge those things. I do, and I actually have a little story out of it today in the last segment, so you have to listen.
Okay.
It's called Secret Lives of the U.S. Presidents, What Your Teachers Never Told You About the Men of the White House, in keeping with all of this, now with Obama. So,
It's his book pick? His book club?
No,
Oh.
no, I'm saying now they've included
it's an
Obama,
updated
so it's an
version.
updated version,
Okay.
yeah. By Cormac O'Brien, Murder, Adultery, Gambling, UFOs, and the White House. Your high school history teachers never gave you a book like this. So,
okay.
I thought it was a great choice. Like I said, I have a little story about pen pals in here, two
Sounds
presidents that were pen pals.
But
and go ahead.
I was going to say it's nice, right? Like baseball, right? All the great heroes were before the press got into sleeping next door to them,
Right.
And watching same
Right.
with presidents. Back in the day, what a cool
Yeah.
job.
Well, and I think that if you read some of this, it might help to deal with some of your anxiety today, because much of what's in here resembles what's going on
Oh,
right
they
now.
were way worse in the past than they are today. Way worse, way
So,
nastier,
yeah,
way
but we
biased.
don't know that, and we don't think about that, and
we don't know our history.
That's right. That's
Well, I
right.
don't know if I want to know
Well,
it.
I would say that many of us know our history.
Or we're learning
Certain
it. How's
specific
that?
parts of the history.
All right. Well, that was our book blitz, and hopefully one of those books might appeal to you, and you might want to pick one up.
Or all four.
Or all four. There you go. All right. We're going to be right back with Reno Cal Says, talking about fear and anxiety and how to cope. Hopefully we haven't given you too much of that. We'll be right back.
I think it's right on target with Iowa and stuff. You're right there. Right there, right in the middle of the Democratic Party. It's just joy to watch them implode,
I need
isn't
5
it?
exercises.
Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
So, well, it's both sides, right? It's just drama. It's like a soap opera. It has been for the last 3 years. It's still interesting.
It is.
Right?
It really is.
You know, if you take a premise and talk to a Democrat and say, what do you think of this? And they'll say, that's pretty good. Well, Trump came up with it. Well, I don't like it then.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Not all Democrats are like that. There are a large portion, I know, and
I like
many
to think that there are.
And
but
conservatives do tend to generalize and think, and I'm one of them. I tend to think that Democrats are limited issue people, right? So they'll have one issue: feed the homeless, or teachers, get teachers money, or they tend to. I see them as one issue type. That's why they can't get them all there now, right? Their issue's not important. Their issue's not important. It's the
But
president.
then if you look at the Republican side, you can see so many times where they wimp out on things that they don't. They say, "Oh, we're going to get in there, we're going to do this," and then they don't do a darn thing.
Or,
They sit there and do
with
nothing.
with that as a backdrop, you're absolutely
that's
right.
horrid.
One of the things that I admire literally the Democrats about is they have a premise. I'll lie, you swear to it. And they go along. No, really, I would love it if the Republicans would do that. Get on the team. We couldn't even, with the impeachment, we couldn't get 50 senators.
Tom Steyer.
I picked a really volatile subject today.
So Tom Steyer's advertising about term limits applies to his party more than anybody else's, which is the funniest thing. He's not Republicans, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'll say Mitch McConnell's been there a while.
Yeah,
a couple of days. Yeah.
But Jerry Nadler's been there since I was born.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's been there since the 60s.
No, they all knew Lincoln.
It's ridiculous. well, Nancy, Nancy and that whole really liberal side.
It's called an ilk.
Well, they've been there 30 years, right? They've been there 30 years.
Do you really think that Nancy is that liberal? Or do you think that she sways with whatever she needs to stay in power?
So I would say that...
I really wonder that.
So I think she's really liberal because of where she's from.
Yeah, but I don't think you can go on that. I
so
really don't.
You think you can get voted as a conservative, any kind of conservative
I'm not
in
saying
San
she's
Francisco?
conservative to the extreme, but maybe more moderate. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there.
But
Just
doesn't
throwing it
that
out
go
there.
back to the premise that I said they're there for their own personal benefit?
Like most people, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to go whichever way the wind takes them. So
I
just
feel that
think-
way with many of them. Not like an AOC. AOC, she's got
La La
what she's
Land.
got.
So when we're in a home loan, right? My rule is like, right, if somebody comes at you petty, right, you go big.
Yeah.
Government doesn't do that. They just stay petty. They do.
Yeah. Well, you know, you have to
Here
admire
we go,
California.
guys. Here we go. Welcome back.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. And so here we are. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson. We got phones going off. People that forgot to turn off their phones. Probably that dude.
I don't know who.
Can't imagine as he
As my bottom was vibrating.
Well, we've
As I
had
was-
enough laughter that there's really no fear or anxiety in this room today.
None.
So this topic doesn't really fit our group.
But Reno Gal says is going to talk about
Yes,
how
okay.
to cope
Well,
with fear and
I
anxiety.
am, because this was prompted from an associate of mine that she is a mother, young mother, and ever since the Kobe Bryant tragedy, helicopter crash that killed him and his 13-year-old daughter, and also there were other people on the plane. There were mothers, fathers, other children who died as well. Since that happened, she travels for business, and she had an enormous amount of anxiety. She confessed that she's just so afraid of what may happen to her with her child at home. And so I was thinking, what could I possibly say to her there, to comfort? Because, yes, what is this? Are you saying smack her?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh,
Ed.
You got a child and you're worried about him being at home while you're working? Come on.
Okay, that's a different topic
no,
for a different
that's-
time. So people do have a lot of fear. This is instigated or ignited a fear of flying. And so I did a little bit of research on fear and anxiety. There's tons of fear. There's a lot of reasons why we have fear or anxiety. It's because of, we hear on the news, there's violence, there's problems, there's the coronavirus. That's one. I mean, we had SARS before that. We've had the plague, the Black Plague, many centuries before that. So as a result, I feel like we're a bit of nervous wrecks anymore walking around. We had the gentleman on the air a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, about how 4 out of 4 women are on medication
right.
for their stress or their depression or their anxiety. So this
Yoga.
Yes.
That's the answer.
So there are ways.
It's helpful. Get off the medication.
There are ways that we can, cope with this problem. A lot of people's fear, and specifically fear of flying. Even Paul, he had to get on a plane today. He is anxious too, and a lot of it is
he
because
usually anxious when he goes flying?
anymore things do make him more anxious, just in general. And I don't know if this is an aging issue or because we're a little bit more skittish. We're like,
We
wow,
know too much.
We've lasted this long. What else is going to come at us?
Right.
It's this kind of, we're the
Yeah,
flight.
dodging that bullet, right?
Yeah, we're constantly dodging bullets every single day, it seems, or hearing about things. So it makes you a little bit on edge. And so sometimes fear of flying comes from a bad experience on a plane, or the safety measures that they incorporate at the airport is so stressful. It's meant to keep you safe, and yet it's making you think, is someone lurking there just to blow it up? So the procedure makes you feel much more anxious. So there's lots of things that can trigger these emotions. Plus, if you have marital problems at home, or you have a sick child at home, or you have...
So there are contributing factors, is
there's
what they're
contributing
saying.
factures which lead to all this fear.
And all of those are the pilot.
Well, it can be. And this is something I'll tell you, probably you guys don't know this about me, but my father's a private pilot, and I was raised in a small plane. I was raised flying, and even I don't want to fly. So it's just something that happens. So what the recommendation was, and I'm going to post this blog later with all the links of where I got my information, is one thing is to watch those safety procedures that they do, those videos before you get on the flight or when you're in, watch them go through those things, because a lot of things happen. There was a plane that actually needed to do these measures, and people were grabbing their luggage and grabbing stuff because they hadn't watched. Don't grab these things.
Yeah, they didn't pay attention.
Exactly.
Well, who watches the lady up there waving her arms around, right?
I've seen it 10,000 times, but
and I couldn't tell you what she said.
People aren't paying attention, and it leads to chaos, and it makes it even worse. So another option is to learn how an airplane actually works.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
Knowledge will help.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of things we don't understand. We're afraid of things we have no knowledge about. So we're afraid because we have no control in them. So if you understand the mechanics of something, then it might help. It might help. I have no idea.
Well,
so
it stays in the air by magic.
How does it stay in the air? It's such a good question.
Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Learn about
it's a
how
killer
the
book.
air traffic controllers work, how they keep planes from a safe distance from each other, or what the heck is air turbulence. Anyway, it's scary. I pray every time I land in Reno because I think this is it. This is it. Sometimes, though, you need to take it a step further. There's therapy. You could see a doctor. You could have medication.
Well, if there's deep-seated
Exactly.
issues.
You may have deep-seated issues. They actually have these things, the virtual reality, I guess, and you can pretend you're on a plane, work through these fears and get past it. Also, breathing exercises, mantras, meditation, or prayer.
Trains and cars.
The other thing that I
Trains
like,
and
what I
cars.
appreciated was bring things that comfort and soothe you. So I have this nice
thing around your neck
scarf because I don't know where my day is going, and if I have this soft thing, it comforts. So bring things.
You know, are you done? I don't want to interrupt you, but I have a little something my daughter bought for my husband, who is bedridden, and they said that this blanket would be good for people to comfort them.
Yeah,
and it's a weighted blanket.
I just bought one, so.
Okay, well, all right.
Did you have one for me?
I might have one for you. So she brought it out, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, this is heavy."
Mine is 15 pounds.
Yeah, this one was 20, she said, and they recommended more because of his weight, right? So it's based on what your weight is.
Yeah.
And so I put it on me, and I was like, I'm not comforted. I am not at all comforted by
Different things
this.
comfort
Exactly. And that was my point, because I thought, okay, this is great, for somebody. Certainly not for me.
If you put it on me and you can't roll over.
Oh my
You felt
God.
trapped.
I was trapped, yes.
No, see,
That's
this
exactly
is
how
Paul
I felt.
and I, our biggest argument in bed is the covers. He has everything off, and then he piles it all on me. And we had an epiphany when we
Can you picture this? You
when
see,
we were
So with that green thing around, you couldn't tell whether you were a blanket or not. You'd be all blended in there. I can see that.
true.
I
You
can
can't
totally
even
see
find
it.
me.
That'd
I'm
be a
just so
killer
buried.
place to hide.
I'm so buried in the bed. So we had an epiphany, and when we were in Hungary,
I'm going to call Paul.
We had
got your story.
We had 2 separate beddings, and I thought that was genius because he didn't bug me, I didn't bother him. We're going home. We're not buying a big king size comforter. We're splitting it down the middle. Mine is this. That's yours. And I thought this weighted blanket is going to be perfect.
Have you ever had the dream that you ate a big marshmallow and when you woke up your pillow was gone?
No, I dream that I eat cake and everything that has gluten in it. These are my dreams. I wake up thinking I had a cupcake. Oh no. And then I went, oh no, it was a dream. I didn't eat the cupcake. Yeah, so.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
Well, I have really gone far
I
astray
got nothing.
on my topic, but that's what I have to say.
And April will post this on What's the Story?
Yeah.
Okay. She'll post it on What's the Story so that if anybody's interested in knowing more about, how coping strategies.
Yeah, there's 5 ways. This was
Right.
that I wrote down a number of these tips, but there's shorter things tips. There's
and some of what the lady might have been experiencing just because you reacted so badly. When I lived in Los Angeles, there were the riots, and then there were the fires. Then Chatsworth had a fire, and I'm looking outside, and there's fires all around me. We had the earthquake. I mean, all within a really short period of time. So depending on what she's experiencing at the moment, where normally she might not be concerned about those things, that could also be a contributing factor. Because I'll tell you what, I was mega anxiety, and I'm not a mega anxiety gal. But after,
so if you start looking at stuff, though, the world's a scary, scary place, man. If you start opening that door, you're in trouble.
Yeah, but I think it was piling on.
Right.
That was what
Right.
was happening.
Yeah.
It was piling on, and so she may be dealing with a piling on issue, but what triggered it. I hate that word. What triggered it was the Kobe Bryant thing.
Yeah.
I had a friend who died, and she was homeless and all these things, and she wasn't even like a super close friend, but somebody that I knew from long before, hadn't even been in touch with her. Oh my God, it affected me so dramatically. Why? I have no idea. But whatever was going on at that time, it just, I mean, I've had closer friends that died that didn't have the same effect. So it just really depends on what's going on, and that's where the analysis and
it's so deep. It's a
self-analysis.
deep psychological thing. Another thing, it would cost you, but you could have a therapist go on the plane with you.
Oh wow, that's
been
pretty
done.
dramatic.
It is, and I saw it on an episode of Cheers, and I thought it was hilarious as a joke. Fraser Crane went on the plane with Carla and several others.
Oh, but that was
but
funny.
Even now,
I'm gonna look that episode up.
I'm going to post that in my blog too, because that scene
If they
is
wear
the
a
best.
costume, are they a comfort animal?
Yeah, no more comfort animals. Can't. It's not Noah's Ark in the air.
Looks to me like they're a comfort animal.
I'll tell you,
Noah's Ark
truth
in
be
the
told,
air.
when I read about Yale University students having bouncy castles and colorings and cookies, I was saying I don't even want to go out the house and have dealings with anyone.
So, like, Yale's not like a regular place anybody goes, except students that pay hundreds of thousands.
Yes, this is
I'm just saying it's a very limited place. People don't go there.
I got kind of ill, and I thought, okay, I need to just stay home, take a bath.
And use her blanket, her weighted blanket.
I'm going to get my own bouncy castle. My weighted blanket.
We're so glad to have you back, Ed.
I thought, you know what? I thought I left the world in a good place with you guys.
Yeah.
Guess not, man. It's gone to hell.
April
That's all I
drowned.
have to say.
April
All right, we
drowned
got to
with
go
a
now.
20-pound
We got to
blanket.
go, but we'll be back in our second half, so don't go away. Hang with us.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
So here's the choice. Some people say the USA is finished. It's evil, a has-been, full of hate and injustice. The U.S. Constitution should be trashed and the Bill of Rights abolished. No free speech, no gun ownership. Competition and free markets are bad. We're all too stupid. For our own good, the government must own everything and know all your secrets.
Other people say that America has created the freest, richest, happiest, most generous society that has ever existed in the world. That's why millions of people are desperate to come here and escape their brutal lives in Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, and 100 other countries.
In America, we have the right to succeed, the right to our own living, the right to have a family, the right to believe in God, the right to have our own ideas, the right to be safe and secure, and the right to be left alone.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore the American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
This is America Matters Media Radio, heard worldwide on the web at americamatters.us and on KCKQ 1180 AM, Reno.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
President Trump doesn't want the FDA to regulate tobacco. His new budget creates an agency within Health and Human Services dedicated solely to regulating tobacco and vaping products. The FDA has been cracking down amid concerns of underage vaping. Regarding the proposed federal budget, the president says 2 areas of the budget will remain the same.
We're not touching Medicare. We want to keep Medicare. We're not touching Social Security.
An Arkansas mayor is thanking police officers following a deadly shooting inside a Walmart.
It's due to their heroism and quick response that no civilians were injured. Again, thank you. Truly thank you to the response of the officers.
Forest City Mayor Cedric Williams says police did the right thing by confronting someone at the big box store on Monday. The suspect was making threats inside the Walmart. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
February is Black History Month, and what better way to celebrate than through the sounds of music? Opening summer 2020 in Nashville, the National Museum of African American Music will feature more than 50 musical genres created and inspired by African Americans. Museum President and CEO H. Beecher Hicks III.
We are proud to be a first-of-its-kind museum dedicated to celebrating the role African Americans play in shaping the American soundtrack. When you step inside the museum, you'll be instantly immersed into what I like to call 56,000 square feet of funk. We have 7 galleries filled with more than 1,500 artifacts from some of your favorite artists, from gospel and hip-hop to country and classical. You'll be able to trace generations of untold Black history within our walls. We are one nation under a groove, uniting all people through a shared history. And we are excited to welcome everyone to Nashville, America's Music City.
For more on the National Museum of African American Music, visit blackmusicmuseum.org.
4 people are now facing federal charges in connection with the Equifax data breach. The Chinese military hackers are accused of carrying out the breach in 2017 that compromised the personal data of nearly 150 million Americans. And you're listening to USA Radio News. A Rhode Island Catholic priest is denying holy sacraments to lawmakers who supported an abortion rights bill. Here's more from USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes.
Reverend Richard Bucci of Sacred Heart Church in West Warwick, Rhode Island, says lawmakers who voted in favor of the Reproductive Privacy Act will no longer be allowed to take communion, witness marriages, or serve as godparents. The bill would put the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision into Rhode Island law. Rhode Island lawmakers already feeling the impact. One state senator says he can no longer be his niece's godfather. Another one says she was forbidden from giving a eulogy at a relative's funeral.
And you're listening to USA Radio News.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-215-5141. 800-215-5141. That's 800-215-5141.
House Democrats say even though President Trump was acquitted in the Senate, that doesn't mean they're going to ease off their investigations into his administration. Democrats are weighing whether to pursue new leads of possible wrongdoing or press forward with probes that are already underway when an anonymous whistleblower's allegation last year sparked the impeachment inquiry. Republican Congressman from California, Devin Nunes, tells Fox News enough is enough.
Well, I'd say that old habits die hard. They've done nothing else for their entire time that they've controlled Congress. And don't forget, the Democrats on the Intelligence Committee started this right after Trump was elected. So that's going over 3 years. I'm not sure that they actually know how to do anything else. Because for all practical purposes, the Intelligence Committee in the House isn't really meeting. So my guess is they're going to start with John Bolton, maybe others. They may concoct a new hoax. I'm not sure that that the American people will believe it, but you can be sure of one thing: the mainstream media will support whatever it is the narrative is that they want to build.
And finally, former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack, who served as Secretary of Ag from 2009 to 2017, claimed a $150,000 Powerball prize Monday. Vilsack won the January 22nd drawing when the Powerball jackpot had reached over $347 million. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
Stories we've told, oh, it's their own stories we've told, stepping at a time. Stories we've told. days we were told till the end of time. Oh, said so alright.
Welcome back. This is our second hour of What's the Story. I'm Janice Hermson here with Ed Knoll, April Kempler, waiting for you to say something, and Doug Ashby. Welcome back, guys.
Oh, this is going to be great. It's the four of us for the second hour. That's super.
I know. April's never here for the second hour.
I was here last
we're
week.
excited.
It's because you had so much.
Just for one
You
segment.
had so much the fun
But
the
in
first
life,
hour, huh?
life is so exciting now, right? There's so many amazing things going on. Our economy's good. The world, we're going to elect a president. World's got challenges.
No,
it's
it's
just
not.
a dynamic time to be alive. It's awesome.
I hate him. He's done terrible. I'm sorry. That was the other side of my brain working.
No, I just mean there's lots of stuff going on.
He's
that's,
channeling.
You know, retired people channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Oh.
It's your segment.
So-
I'm just letting you go. I mean,
No.
I didn't think I had to introduce you. This is Ed.
Woohoo! Here I am.
OMGLending.com.
So, right, I'm always talking about business, personality, seeing stuff, you know, and honestly, I am callous and cold and not very sensitive to the stuff that April talked about today. It's just my space. My situation
real
is,
you.
is just get over it, right? I mean, seriously, right? And,
Push through.
And that is likely cold and calloused, right? That sounds like, to me, in balance, maybe that's something people can work on.
Yeah.
Right? I think whether it's your health, physical, right? I have a situation where, they want me to take a statin, right? Preemptive, like pills. I get preemptive diet and health, but I'm not a preemptive pill guy, right? I don't think it's good. But I do really think the balance matters. And folks with challenges like that, it would just, wouldn't you have a friend, right? I mean, this is why folks have close friends to vent and talk and
Which is what she did.
and find their space. But I mean, I really neglect and overlook that people have real challenges that I don't call challenges. And
That's why you're here with us, Ed. So
maybe
you can
because
learn
I'm
all
so stupid
this.
and naive. Yeah.
No, just to
Well, it
see
might
things.
be.
Maybe just look at something in a whole new way. It might not change you, but it might just give you an
yeah, it
open.
just gives you another perspective. That's all.
No, it totally does.
Yeah.
Right, it totally does. But it's one that, right, I've overlooked.
I agree. I like to push through my issues too. There's a degree of that, but you also have to do other things.
Well, right, I think that
These
when
are-
I was young, I was very sensitive, right? And I could watch TV and cry and stuff. And so what did I do? Stop it.
Yeah.
I told myself to stop it and not entertain that anymore. And I never have until I watch Have Gun Will Travel on Sunday. And I'm tearing up at 8 a.m. watching TV. But seriously, right?
Well, wait a
I
minute.
just,
Whoa. Do you think you're a better person for not being sensitive?
I've achieved more.
Really? I don't understand how one equals the other.
It's time. If you're all caught up in this noise, like this plane trips or these trips, if you're caught up in that, how can you do anything?
Well, from a fireman's point of view too, you've seen a lot of and you've had to shut
I'm just
off
saying,
certain things.
if
and
you
yet,
have all that anxiety and
become
all that stuff
desensitized.
going on in your brain,
He compartmentalized.
Exactly.
You do.
You can't.
Big compartment.
You can't achieve. To me, that's just a distraction. I'm kicking to the curb, whether my legs broke or right. I don't want to make a call to somebody today, or I got to get on a plane, or I got a flat tire. It's just adversity in the way of life, and I got to get over it and move on to what I'm doing.
Well, no, I don't know if I agree with your premise or not, because you can multitask. Just like April said with the fire service, I went on thousands of calls. When you stop and think about it, that's a firefighter's job. They sit in the fire station waiting for someone's life to turn south.
Right.
Boy, I cleared that up, didn't I?
But you have no. What happens
That's not
though?
what. And you can go back to the fire station and unfortunately kid about it, because that's the coping mechanism.
Right. That's
But
not
it
getting
doesn't.
I get that.
But it
Yeah.
doesn't alter the other side of you on being aggressive and how you handle things. I mean, another thing, in communications, I took thousands of calls of people in distress. And it was just an array. I mean, as soon as you would answer the phone, there would be somebody literally yelling at you. And then
Well,
you would
I
have
get
to,
that, but you chose that space.
it doesn't matter how you got there. The fact is that you can do both. You can multitask, you can be successful, and yet you can compartmentalize that. I don't think that one has to negate the other. How'd I do?
Excellent.
I don't disagree with you. I just think with, April's space, if I had to go through all that stuff, I couldn't get anything done. Right? To me, that's just stuff I can't worry with because it gets in the way of doing stuff that I want to get done.
I agree. I don't disagree.
How about that? Oh my goodness, I think it's a red letter day here.
Yeah. Miracles happen.
I guess they do. That's very good. You still even have a minute left.
Wow.
Wow.
So
you never did get to your topic, did you?
What is your topic?
So what do you do for... What's your break, Jan?
What's my
break? You're one of the busiest people I know. What's one of your relief spaces?
Gosh, work is my relief.
Well, I get that.
Really
You've
is.
developed that discipline, right? But I would suggest that, I know you do stuff with your sisters. You guys go to movies.
Yeah, we do movies, but and I would say there's a specific type of movie that I like to watch. They're disaster movies.
Totally get that, right? I get that.
Earthquake,
Towering Inferno. That was my favorite.
Exactly.
That one had
my break.
I think that one even had Fred Astaire in it.
No,
or
but
something.
that's all. I mean, that's awesome. But see, that's what she's developed. I mean, she as a person. I mean, right? You work 23 hours and 59 minutes a day, right? I mean, she's busy and she's got a mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm at that point where I want to get busy and develop a good habit.
You are. You
A
are.
good
You're
habit?
Here.
Yeah, a good habit. I need good
we
habits.
got to go, and we'll be right back with Bobby Joe Holman and some music stuff.
It's sweet. There's no place like it. And as we all know, it's where the heart is. Home. It matters. I'm Grant Brewer with Home at Last, a housing program of Nevada Rural Housing Authority. Join me and expert guests every Tuesday at 4 p.m. on KCKQ 1180 for Home Matters, a show dedicated to all things, well, home. Each week, I chat with the industry's best. Lenders, real estate professionals, builders, insurance experts, home inspectors, developers, and specialized housing program experts. They grace the mic, and we dig into today's hot housing topics. Tune in to Home Matters each Tuesday at 4 p.m. at 1180 a.m. KCKQ, the home of community radio. Or listen live and listen again online at americamatters.us. Join us.
Welcome to my house. It's my house.
Rich is just a really, really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now back to the show.
Are you ready to sing the blues? Are you willing to listen to this next man? Man got his harmonica in his hand. Good God, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Joe! Bobby Joe!
Welcome back, and that tells us if you could hear the music at all, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I think on YouTube you might not be able to. So if you didn't hear the music, this is Bobby Joe Holman and Blues and Kids. Welcome, Bobby Joe.
Well, thank you. It's always such a pleasure to hang out with you good people.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on, and all the way from Utah. All that way, all those, a few hundred miles.
Yeah. Voice bouncing off the clouds.
That's right, the home of Mitt Romney.
Oh, shush.
Oh, please, let's not go there, buddy.
Yeah, you probably don't want to.
It's a no-win.
Not with these two guys here.
Yeah, I actually, a guy in my band, and this 8-piece rhythm and blues band, his name is Mike Romney, and he's a distant relative, and he's a pro-Democrat, but boy, he's not too happy with the,
oh, wow.
with the fellow, oh, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting to hear, yeah.
Yeah, he was all over him. It just, and this before he did his this